going in, especially as a Black woman, they expected me to turn Cinco's head.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Shannon show. Hello if you're new. So today I have a special guest with me, Kay from Love Island USA season 3 from the Casa Amor. We're going to get into it because obviously we only get to see an hour. We want to see things from your point of view, get your side of the story. So let's get into it. So obviously you get the call. You're in Love Island, you're going in at Casa Amor. Obviously Casa Amor is a big gamble. Initially going in, how are you feeling about your prospect of gaining that permanent visa villa? That permanent villa visa?
I was excited, obviously, like regardless to be going in. I did have like a little bit of like uncertainty about going in as like a Casa Amor.
Going in, what was your initial plan?
So I literally had no initial plan. I literally was just going in. I tried to communicate with everyone once I got in there, just trying to see where I had like a better connection. I thought that Wes and Giovanni were still going to be in the villa, and they actually weren't. So like when I got there, it was a complete shock and like surprise to me. So yeah, I didn't really have an actual plan. I was just kind of going with the flow, which you can probably tell.
So other than Wes and Giovanni, were you not really interested in anyone else?
I mean, so I definitely was interested in getting to know everyone. I had a conversation with Josh, had a conversation with Jeremy, I had a conversation with Corey, and then I had two conversations with Cinco. Um, well, yeah, so I had an initial conversation with Cinco, and then I kind of had like a follow-up conversation with him just to see where his head was at. So, yeah, for the most part, I mean, everyone was super nice. So I was interested in trying to get to know everyone. I mean, the only person who I didn't probably like try to get to know on a connection level was Will. And that's just because we established like a really solid friendship, like right off the bat.
So that's interesting because, like, from our point of view, it didn't really look like you were that active. So it's interesting to hear that you were more active than what we saw.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it portrayed that I was just, the only conversation that I had was with Cinco, but that was literally not true.
So in the end, why do you think you didn't form a connection with anyone?
What's interesting is, I mean, one, we know that like going into Casa Amor, it's already difficult because a lot of people are already in established relationships and couples. Like Josh was with Shannon since the beginning. I mean, Cinco was obviously juggling two different women, so he was confused. The only two people who were actually really single was Corey and Jeremy, and I honestly just don't think. I think that a lot of those men have very distinct types, and to tell you that I don't think that I was their type.
Mm. Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Yeah, I think that going in, especially as a Black woman, they expected me to turn Cinco's head, and then when that didn't happen, it was like, okay, well, I know for a fact that all these other connections are probably not going to be formed. So at that point, I was kind of just like, took a step back, stayed to myself, and kind of just had a good time just being there because, I can't force anyone to want me.
Yeah. So when you kind of realized that, you probably weren't going to form a connection, were you just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to enjoy my time here? Was there any like regret of being there in the first place?
No, at one point I did have a little bit regret just because, I mean, no one wants to feel unwanted, but at the same time, like I'm strong. So I just knew that, I literally got this far. I'm here. Some people probably didn't even make it here. And it's like, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity and just be here and in this moment, because honestly, like, yeah, I'm there for love, but at the same time, it's like I don't revolve my entire being around men anyway. So it's just like once I realized that, it wasn't happening, it was just like, okay.
Yeah, I get that. And in terms of like providing insight inside the house, actually being there, I guess the hot topic of the villa that you were in the Casa Amor season was Will and Flo. From your point of view, were you surprised that Will form that connection with Flo?
I'm really not surprised because it happened so naturally and effortlessly. Like, it wasn't forced on anyone's behalf. It kind of just was like, it's like when you meet someone out and you just have a conversation and you just from there, like, you literally just want to talk to them every day. You want to be around them every day. Like, it was just so like effortlessly flowing to the point where it's just like you can watch it happen and it just feels right. Like, I wasn't really like, oh my God, like taken aback because he's like turning his head or anything. Like, when you're there and you're watching it happen, it's completely different than when you're probably watching it on TV and you're like, oh, well, I've seen him with Kira this entire time and now he kind of like, it's like being unloyal or unfaithful. Like, he really wasn't. It was just him following his heart, testing out the waters and seeing what's best for him, which that's what Love Island is for.
Yeah.
No one's technically in a committed relationship. You're allowed to turn your head the next day if you want to.
Mm.
I mean, for the most part, he asked me a couple times what I think that he should do, and I kind of deep down feel like I knew kind of venturing towards Kira a little bit, and then they had a conversation about it like the night before, and he kind of made it clear like where his head was at with her, and he came and talked to me about it, and she came and talked to me about it, and it was kind of like a point where we just knew,
Yeah.
we knew that probably wasn't going to happen. I do think that if Flo came in at a different time, that they would have been able to establish like a deeper connection faster. I mean, not faster, but a deeper connection.
Yeah. And then I guess also with Cinco, even though he's out now, his name is still in the villa, I guess, kind of like Charlie versus Cinco. But I guess the main question was whether Cinco was actually genuine about his feelings with Cash. Do you think Cinco was genuine?
I have no idea. I'm not in his head. I don't know what anyone is thinking when they're in these like couples. I mean, he did tell us that he not regretted, but he knew that Trina wasn't for him after a while. He kind of made his bed and I guess laid in it. So he did want to go back to Cash. I know that, but if it's for the right reasons, I have no idea. I never got to see Cinco and Cash together, so I didn't know what kind of relationship that they had.
Yeah. And when he was in the Casa Amor section, was he entertaining anyone else in there? Because we kind of saw Leslie, but we didn't see anything else.
I don't know. I mean, he didn't choose her, obviously, so I don't know how deep that ran, but we did see like a little bit of like Leslie and Cinco kind of like, going back and forth, flirting, kissing, all that stuff.
You kind of mentioned before that, you felt like people have a perception of the Casa Amor girls. And from the edit, the Casa Amor girls coming in, people were kind of saying, some of them were acting a bit like mean girls. Do you feel like that was a fair judgment or unfair judgment?
It wasn't at all, because I'm telling you right now, I grew very close to, well, especially like Isabel and Flo, like I grew very close to them. And I know that they're extremely sweet. We had each other's backs through it. I mean, you don't sit there and like cry if you're being a mean girl, you know what I mean, about a relationship with a guy. Like, if you're a mean girl, like, you're not going to have any friends in the villa. You're going to be like, talking bad about people behind their back. Like, none of that was happening at all. And like, that's the thing, like, even after we left, we were really, really close. Like, we're planning on taking trips together because they're just really nice, really genuine girls. Like, I think that it was portrayed a way that it wasn't it. Like, it's not reality. Like, they're actually very sweet, and I'm not like a mean girl either. Like, that's why I said they all rip see Casa Amor girls and just expect us to be savage, aggressive, ruthless, like coming for your man. Like, that's what they expect. So they make judgments before they even get to know who we are.
Yeah. And then obviously Leslie, she actually left a couple days after getting into the permanent villa. How do you feel about that?
I don't really feel any way about it, to be honest with you. I mean, everyone makes their own decisions, and yeah.
In terms of before you went in, if you had any preconceived notions of anyone going in, was there anyone when you went in and you met them in real life and you were like, oh, you were totally different than what I expected?
Funny, because I was weary about meeting a lot of the guys. I mean, like how Jeremy, like how we've seen him on TV. We barely saw anything of Will, so I didn't even expect Will to be as cool as he was. But it's like, you know, all the guys for the most part were actually genuinely nice. Like, I'm telling you, like, we woke up, they would make us breakfast, like they would make sure that we're taken care of at all times. Like, we would go in the pool, they would bring us towels. Like, they were all gentlemen. Like, they were very sweet men.
That's good to hear. And in terms of who you're rooting for?
Now I don't know, because up until yesterday I swore that Shannon and Josh had it, and you know, life took its toll. So now I have no idea. Literally, like, maybe Trina and one of the new guys, maybe Cash and Charlie. I have no clue at this point. You know, everything's kind of like taking a whole other turn at this point. It's hard.
But who are you like actually rooting for? Like, as in, who do you want to see rather than who do you think?
I mean, I genuinely love Cash. Like, obviously, I think everyone loves Cash. So, I mean, whoever she wins with, that would be great, because I think she just seems like an amazing person. So, I'm rooting for Cash. I don't know who she's coupled up with right now, or if she's even coupled up with anyone. I know she came down with Charlie, but I don't think there's been a recoupling since then. But based on social media, I've heard that there's just been, like, you know, some questioning about, like, her relationship with Charlie. So I don't really know, but regardless, I want Cash to win.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of my line of questioning. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.